The Minnesota Wild podcast is presented exclusively by Acrisure.
Ready for an extended Minnesota Wild pregame. Welcome to St. Paul. Kevin Falness, soon to be joined by Pat Micheletti as we bring Beyond the Pond to the afternoon and get ready for what should be an awesome Game 4. Game 3 was scintillating. It was spectacular. It was a lot of fun. Didn't end the right way. It ended late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, and the Wild are on the wrong side of a double overtime loss and now trailed in the best-of-7 series 2-1, and that puts added importance on today as the Wild take on the Stars, looking to even things up at 2 games apiece. As mentioned, we'll go to Pat Micheletti here shortly, but right now we're joined in studio by one of the TV voices and faces that you heard throughout the season on FanDuel Sports Network. It's our good friend Wes Walz. Walsy, I'm ready for a Game 4. How about you? Are you recovered from Game 3?
Oh yeah. I was a little tired. I was dragging the day after, obviously, but got a good night's sleep the night last night, so I feel good about this. And obviously, being down 2-1 right now after winning Game 1 is not exactly ideal. Puts a lot of importance in this game here tonight, and see if the Wild can fire a bullet.
From a Wild perspective, much like it was a must-win game for the Stars in Game number 2 in Dallas, that same importance here is for the Wild. You can't go back to Dallas down 3-1 in this series.
No, I mean, I'm not going to call it a must-win, but it is as close to a must-win as you can have. Being down 3-1, and again, this is not like you're coming back against the 28th team in the National Hockey League. You'd have to come back against one of the best defensive teams in the National Hockey League that has the second best power play, and they've proven that power play is devastating here so far in this series through 3 games. So, this game is obviously is huge.
I'm going to ask you a question that I asked Pat Micheletti this morning on Beyond the Pond. And again, we're tracking down Pat. We'll get the technology figured out. And if you want to watch this, it might not be just enough to listen to it. You might want to watch it as well. KFAN.com/watch. You can see former Wild captain Wes Walz in all his glory right there in front of your viewing lens. I asked this to Pat Micheletti this morning in the fact, the Dallas Stars, are they a dirty team?
Yeah, they are. They ride the nasty, dirty side really, really well. Some players, some teams do it better than others. Jamie Benn's been doing this a long time.
Yeah, he's the guy I was thinking of.
He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience in it. There is an art to it, Kevin. Some guys around the National Hockey League, like Jamie Benn, trying to think of some other guys. Possibly Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Guys that have been around the block, understand the small intricacies about, whenever they do, could potentially feel guilty about doing something. They're very stone-faced like nothing happened. They're damn good at it, Kevin. They're damn good at it. And I'm sure it's got to be frustrating for Wild fans with what's gone on through the first 3 games.
It really is. And we'll bring Pat Micheletti into the conversation. Pat, you've met Wes Walz. Wes Walz, Pat Micheletti, one of the greatest scorers in the history of Golden Gopher hockey.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Wes. I'm wondering if you were behind this because you knew I was coming after you with hard.
Oh yeah, these hard hitting
right?
questions. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a question I have for you, Wes.
All right.
And we've seen it, and we talked about it this morning. We've seen it all throughout the playoffs. The officials are really, really calling things tight. A lot of penalties on both sides. I'm not going to say poor officiating. I'm just saying, it's been really hard, I think, for all these teams to get into a rhythm. What are your thoughts overall on the officiating thus far throughout the whole playoffs?
Well, there's been more minor penalties called in this series than any of the other 7. I think the last game of the regular season, Kevin, I think it was the 4 games left in the season, Pat, when we played Dallas.
Yeah.
That game was a little unhinged and off the rails. And I think the league looked at that game thinking we have to rein this in. We don't want this thing to go sideways. And I think especially early in games, Pat, they're calling everything really, really tight. And And yes, they've called a lot of, stick infractions, and not just against the Wild. I mean, there was a penalty in overtime against Quinn Hughes in overtime where, that should not have been a penalty, and we had a power play. So it's gone both ways. We've had 18 power play opportunities. I'm sorry, they've had 18. We've had 15. But what I will say is because it's called tight, you just have to be even more careful. And you have to be more careful with your sticks. You're playing against a team that's got the second best power play in the regular season overall. In the 4 games they played against the Wild, they went 4 for 9 on the power play. They've got an unbelievable power play. So, going into a game, you're probably going to have to kill off 3 or 4. Just too often the last 2 games, Pat, we've given them those 3 or 4 free ones, and you just can't if you want to get by a great team. Okay, what about our power play? There was a point in the game, Wes. We're up 2-1. They get the penalty late in the period, and it carries over into the third. Great opportunity, to get that separation goal. Okay, didn't get it, but overall, what are you seeing with the power play that's kind of gone a little stagnant? Well, we know we missed Zuccarello, right? Yeah, that's obvious. That's obvious, and that's not going to change probably for tonight. It's a game time decision. We're going to find out here in the next 20 minutes from Coach Hines. But looking at the way they ran their power play practice yesterday, they had Matt Boldy in the position where Matt Zuccarello would be, and they moved Bobby Brink down on the goal line. So the Dallas Stars pressure. They pressure maybe harder than any other team in the NHL on the penalty kill. And the Wild are going to have to make some adjustments here in Game 4. And one of the adjustments that I think they're going to make is to try to use that bumper play a lot more on the power play when they do get full possession of the puck. So for me, that's going to take Eriksson Ek away from the front of the net. And for me, they have to take Eriksson Ek away from the front of the net until we have full possession, because they pressure so hard. We almost need that guy in the middle of the power play just to relieve some of that pressure. So we can't have a guy just standing in front of the net on the power play until we get the puck back, because they're pressuring so hard. So we look a little bit stuck without Matt Zuccarello. But if you look back at the first 15 games of the season, Kevin and Pat, we didn't have Matt Zuccarello in the first 15 games of the season. I think we were the 3rd or 4th best power play. So that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Yep. We got to figure out a way to be a little more dangerous on the power play. Talking to former Wild captain Wes Walz here in an extended pregame. Momentarily, in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to cut Wes loose, and we're going to join John Hines in his media availability. Hopefully he'll have some updates on us. The biggest one is that question mark that you guys are talking about with Matt Zuccarello. Call him a game time decision, call him questionable, whatever you want to call him. A big factor for this lineup in so many different ways. And it also impacts the play of Kirill Kaprizov. Russo wrote an entire blog about the fact that Kaprizov and his struggles in the previous 2 games of this series, after scoring 3 points in the first game, 4 combined points in shots, I should say, in the next 2 contests. Do you have any level of concern with Kirill Kaprizov right now, especially if Zuccarello doesn't play today? Oh, yeah. He's, he does have 4 points in 3 games, so let's not lose sight of that. 3 points in game 1, but the last couple games, he has not looked as dangerous, for sure, without Matt Zuccarello. I know, Pat, you had brought up the point about Hartman in the face-off circle, 23% actually in the last game. And in game 1, when Kirill had 3 points and we won 6-1, I think Ryan Hartman was 58% in the face-off circle, so that's important. My eyes tell me, Kevin and Pat, when I watched Game 3, he had the puck a lot. He was noticeable. It wasn't like he was invisible after the game, and I thought, well, where was Kirill Kaprizov? He had the puck a lot. And then I got to thinking a little bit more about that. Great scorers, Pat, and you were one of those when you played college hockey. Great goal scorers actually don't want to handle the puck very much. Yeah, and when you have the puck on your stick as a goal scorer, you are much easier to check. I understand this from my checking days with the Wild. When I played against guys like Peter Forsberg that didn't move the puck a lot of times they were the easiest guys to check. So we're not sure exactly who's going to be playing with Ryan Hartman on that wing, whether it's going to be Bobby Brink or Marcus Johansson. Personally, for me, I would love to see Marcus Johansson. I know you don't want to break up the Ek-Boldy-Johansson line, but I'm sure they're going to there's going to be some juggling going on if the Wild have a struggle to score in the first period. But for me, I would love to see Marcus Johansson get a crack up there, and just so he can use his speed to kind of get in on the forecheck and create some chaos. Just because Bobby Brink is kind of more of a scorer and not an F1 type of guy. So that's kind of the way I would lean. But when I think about just Game 3, Pat and Kevin, I think about we need someone that can distribute the puck for him and actually carry the puck around the ice. Would make him much more dangerous.
Hey, Wes, you and I have talked before, probably a month ago, about the series coming up and some of the things that you have to do. And so my question would be, do you think it would be a good idea at times just to move Boldy up there, even if it's for like 3-4 shifts in a row, just to, get those two together and maybe, confuse Dallas a little bit?
Well, he did it from time to time, especially in offensive zone face-offs, the second and third period after, icings, try to get Kirill and Eki and Kaprizov together. But I do agree as we go through this game, depending on how it starts, do not be surprised at all if Coach John Hines tries to give Kirill Matt Boldy and kind of load up one line. How the other lines are going to shake out is going to be interesting. But listen, when you're down 2-1 and you're playing the Dallas Stars, everything's on the table. Everything, all lines are on the table. The players on the bench have to be ready for changes. If the coach sees something, we can't pick up an extra too many men on the ice because guys are sleeping on the bench because the coach is going to be flipping lines. We don't play again, Pat, till Monday after this game. Till Tuesday. So we've got 2 full days off. Yeah. For me, I'm finding every bit of ice I can for Matt Boldy and Kirill Kaprizov to see if they can work some of their magic here in Game 4.
We certainly love Quinn Hughes on this side of the coin, but, man, I'm having a certain level of appreciation for Miro Heiskanen, too. What he's done in this series coming in as a question mark, sends the puck on net in double overtime and gets credit for the game-winning assist on the Johnston goal. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, what this guy does when he's out there. How impressed have you been with Heiskanen, even though we don't like to throw bouquets at the opposition?
Yeah, well, coming into the series, I heard there was a question mark between Hintz and Miro Heiskanen, and I was just hoping it was going to be Miro over Hintz because he's a guy that plays 30 minutes. And you heard their coach I think it was yesterday in his presser, he had talked about the fact that he feels like he's even getting a little bit healthier here through these first 3 games. But he's been outstanding. I got to be honest, Quinn Hughes in this series, I have been so impressed with the way he has played. I know a lot of times down the last 10, 12 games of the regular season, going into the playoffs, I was a little bit concerned about his defensive game and whether he was engaged enough, to be perfectly honest with you. But he has been awesome. I think he's +6 in the series, leads the National Hockey League in plus-minus. He has not been on a goal for an even goal against him and Brock Faber. But Quinn Hughes has really, really impressed me and turned it up. We all know what he does offensively. He's going to go down as one of the most gifted offensive defensemen we've ever seen in the league. But what he has done defensively here through the first 3 games has not been talked about enough. Obviously, we'd probably be talking about a little more if we were up 2-1 as opposed to 1-1.
Real quick, Patrick, before you ask this question, I just want to give you both a heads up that John Hines is going to start any moment. When he does, I'm going to cut you guys off and go right to the podium. He hasn't entered yet. Should be in the next couple of minutes, but fire away.
Okay, here we go. All right, Wes, you've played against all the top offensive centers in the world when you were playing. Wyatt Johnston, to me, is kind of, he hasn't been hit at all. He hasn't been, Mike, I guess I'm going to ask you. You're playing against Wyatt Johnston today. How are you defending him? What are you doing to him to slow him down?
I don't know. You know what? He's the guy that I would probably be more focused on with that line is Matt Duchene, because Matt Duchene is the guy that's stirring the drink right now. I would not be looking for Wyatt Johnston. I would know that if I could stop Matt Duchene, then Wyatt Johnston is not going to be as dangerous. He's got a little Brett Hull to him, Pat, where he moves around the offensive zone. You don't really know where he is or where he's lurking, and then all of a sudden he'll get a puck in the high slot. He's just a very solid hockey player that has a very, very high IQ. And the reason I brought up the comparison with Brett Hull is because he's a right-handed hockey player too. But For me, the guy that needs to be shut down on that line is Matt Duchene, and I've been very, very impressed with what he's brought to the table. But I mean, how can you argue with what Wyatt Johnston has done through 3 games? But he's doing most of his damage. Pat, their top 4 players, scorers, they're doing all their damage on the power play. If the Wild can stay at even strength, they've outscored the Dallas Stars 8-3 through the 3 games. So that's the bottom line right now: is the Wild have to stay out of the penalty box. And they know going into the game tonight, because the way they're calling it, you're going to have to kill off 4 or 5. You got to give them 1. Give them 1. And you can't give them 8. Right. You can't give them 8. You got to give them 1. And they possibly could go perfect. That would be great. And then hope for power play gets a goal. And what we've done at even strength, that's enough to get us to Game 5 with a tie.
Man, that's what's so disappointing about Game 3, too, is right there for them. 3 power plays in the third period, 2 more in the first overtime, Walsey. And that's what's so frustrating about that game from a fan standpoint. And I'm even sure from the coaching standpoint, probably from the player standpoint. You have all these opportunities to win this game well before it finally did end, and they just couldn't get that magic puck to jump past Jake Ottinger to seal the victory. They score on any of those 5 power plays, the game's probably over.
Well, that's true, too. And then let's not forget Matt Boley had a 2-on-1 with Eki and just missed the empty net with 9 minutes left in the game. That would have probably ended the game, too. So the Wild had their opportunities. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to get that separation goal. Maybe Dallas goes away. But you know what it's like when you're I know this as a penalty killer. When you're feeling good about your kill, and right now the Wild, you're not feeling great about your kill, you lose a little bit of mojo. And Dallas is feeling good about their power play. So it's you have to fight that mental demon kind of that's going on a little bit right now. I know the Wild had a lot of they had a lot of momentum. I believe they killed 14 of their last 15 coming into the playoffs. Had a nice rhythm and stuff like that, and that's kind of gone out the wayside after they've given up 6 power play goals in 3 games. But that's going to have to change if they want to extend this series.
What's your gut tell you about Zuccarello tonight? We know Trenyon's out. They ruled him out for game number 4. Zach Bogosian's in. Took a maintenance day yesterday, but he's in on your third pair. Matt Zuccarello, that's the big question mark. Wes Walz, your gut instinct, what does it tell you about his availability for game 4?
I'm going to be like everybody else and not really know whether he's going to come out the tunnel at all. Maybe we'll know from John here when he talks. But my gut tells me, just from watching yesterday's power play, where they had Matt Boldy on the power play is kind of where Matt Zuccarello would have been. So it's not like it's 100% tell. And some of their routes that they had on the power play breakouts tell me the way Bobby Brink was moving around on the power play breakouts kind of tell me maybe that I would probably lean that he's not in. But what a huge addition he would be to the lineup, and if we can somehow get him in game 4. But we'll have to find out. I'll find out like everybody else.
Yeah, and that should be coming here momentarily. They're going to give me a heads up when he's walking that way. I'm listening to the press conference room, and he's not there yet. Bobby Brink, you mentioned him and the fact that he stepped in for Zuccarello on that top line, on the power play. What were your impressions of Bobby Brink in his first foray into postseason hockey, at least on the NHL level? I
liked his game. He's way more competitive. I mean, you know what it's like, Kevin, when we trade for guys from the Eastern Conference, and Pat, you know this too. You have to start doing homework on them, ask people, because you don't really understand or know their game as well than when you would play somebody in the Western Conference. And he's much more competitive than I gave him credit for. I didn't realize how hard he plays. Not the fastest guy in the world, not the most unbelievable skater, but you saw in the breakaway against Dallas when we played them at home in the regular season, when he had that breakaway, he doesn't need a whole lot of opportunity to score. And that's another reason why, if you had Matt Zuccarello in the lineup, obviously he would make Kirill Kaprizov much more dangerous. He would always also make a guy like Bobby Brink dangerous on the power play as well, too. So I've been impressed with what he's done. He's a guy, Bobby Brink, that is in the last year of his contract. He has every reason to just lay it out there every night. And I thought the 2 games that he played, I know the Wild didn't win those games, but he left an impression, and a big enough impression, Pat, Kevin, that it sounds like Coach Hines is going to give him a shot up there with Ryan Hartman. So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I think it's a great move to move him down low on the power play. He's so good. He's such a smart player, and he's so good around the net. You know, you saw the pass he made to Johansson on the power play goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will be, help get the power play going.
Yeah, just looking at their routes that they went through down low on the power play, it looked like Bobby Brink was going to be a right-handed shot down there to be able to walk down when Matt Boldy comes toward the net on the power play. It'll be interesting to see if Bobby Brink kind of tries to slam pucks right to Ottinger's pads and see if we can bang a couple in that way. That would be a different look than we had shown in the previous 3 games. So, look for that bumper play, maybe a little bit more on both sides of the ice than we've seen on the Minnesota Wild power play, and hopefully they can cash in.
What'd you think of the buzz inside the building? From my standpoint, I'm sitting in the Al Shaver press box. I got I got Joe and Tom to my left, Halvey a little bit further down. But watching the buzz inside the pregame was one thing. Justin Jefferson doing the Let's Play Hockey was awesome. But the second period, as Boldy got ignited, that crowd and that fan base was all over it.
When I was at the desk, obviously I'm doing some intermission hits through this series. I was at the desk amongst the people, not in the press box, with no headset on or anything like that. That puck that flew over Ottinger's blocker from McCarron, that was the loudest I have ever heard the Grand Casino Arena. It was incredible. And obviously, we had our run in 03, and as a player, you don't really recognize all that stuff. We know it was going crazy. But like now that I'm watching this as a fan, I was just like, this is incredible that I'm here right now. This is just special. Just, I hope Wild fans, we've been in the playoffs 12 of the last 14 years. Obviously, we know that we haven't had the success, past the first round. But let's just remember, let's never, ever take this for granted. There's a lot of teams that just haven't got here as often. Let's enjoy these games. And obviously, we hope and pray that throw a bullet here tonight to give ourselves a chance here when we go back to Dallas. But the experience that our Wild fans and myself as a player just being in the building to watch these games is incredible.
Patrick, you got one. Well, actually, Walzy, why don't we cut you loose? I'm hearing that they're on their way.
Let's do it.
Hey,
so,
but don't
be
afraid to wait. Don't be afraid to join us more often. All right.
You got to talk to my agent. See you later.
The great Wes Walz joining us on this extended pregame. Thank you, former number 37, doing a great job as always. Always glad to have him on our airwaves. He'll do a great job on TV, I'm sure. I'm not going to listen to any of it, and you probably won't either. We'll hashtag mute TV, but I'm sure they'll do a great job there, Patrick.
I think they will do just fine. But, yes. Mute TV.
Hey, let me ask you. I asked him his gut as they make their way towards the podium. Your gut. Is John Hines going to tell us Mats Zuccarello is playing here in game number 4?
Well, I'll probably be wrong, but I'm going to say yes, Kevin. There's so much gamesmanship that goes on with these coaches and their lineups and how they're going to defend and, all the what ifs, right? And, I hope he's in. And so, that's just me being optimistic.
Here he comes. I'm going to say goodbye to you for now, Pat. We'll come back to you in a little bit. But here's John Hines with the media just walking up to the podium.
All right, what do we got?
Coach, can you give us some clarity on Zuccarello?
Zucchi's out tonight.
5-on-5, what are some aspects of your team game that, as you look at through the series, that you really like right now?
Well, I think I would say that, Dallas does a good job trying to get to the net front. I think we've done a good job in that area. I think our forecheck's been good. I think some of our offensive zone play, some things that we want to execute have been good. I think we got to get to the net a little bit more in those areas. So, I think those are some generalities.
John, just to confirm, Bogosian took a maintenance yesterday. Is he good to go?
I'm planning on Bogosian playing, yes.
John, you said it's a team trait or characteristic that they could move on from games, tough losses like the other night. Like, where do you see that show? Is that something that shows up in the practice the next day, or do you not really know that until first period of tonight's game, for example?
I think it's just knowing your group after 82 games and going through it of just how we handle it and what we do, and you know because you've been together for so long and you know how we all handle these situations. Everybody else helping? Yes. Yep. You guys good? All right. Thanks.
There you go, short but sweet. John Hines with the media, and the biggest news out of all of that, unfortunately, no Mats Zuccarello will not play in game number 4, so it looks like it'll be the same lineup as it was in game number 3, which, of course, the Wild lost in double overtime, but it doesn't get much closer than that, right? A highly contested battle between two very good teams. It'll be more of the same today when the Wild face off against the Stars in game number 4. Puck drops at 4:45, so we got over an hour, almost an hour and 20 minutes between now and then to walk you up to the drop of the puck. Still lots to come, including Pat Micheletti once again. We're going to check in from the Al Shaver press box with Joe O'Donnell and Tom Reed, plus who knows what else will spring our way between now and 4:45. So don't go anywhere. And remember, I know you're listening on your radio or you're streaming it, but you can watch this as well. Halvey's doing a great job bringing you all the sights and sounds from St. Paul, KFAN.com/watch. More extended pregame fun coming your way after a break on The Fan.
Every Nissan Frontier.
Coach, can you give us some clarity on Zuccarello?
Zucchi's out tonight.
So there you go, short but sweet, but that was the breaking news out of this media gathering. John Hines with the media tells us Mats Zuccarello will miss his 3rd straight game after taking an elbow to the ear or the head area in game number 1 for Tyler Myers. Ended up playing the rest of that game, which the Wild went on to win, and then has sat out the next 2 games. Will sit out today as well. No Mats Zuccarello. Tough blow indeed for the Minnesota Wild, and that speaks to a lot of what we've been talking about. Patrick, who joins me again now, KFAN.com/watch. If you want to join us, you can also send us text 64686. You can send us talkbacks. Well, how are you feeling now that you know for 100% certain no Mats Zuccarello, no Yakov Trenyan? Are the Wild in trouble, or how do they get through this and live to see another day? Patrick, that's not the news we were hoping for, indeed.
No, disappointed, Kevin, and my optimism was 100% wrong. That he would be in the lineup. So it's unfortunate, but you know what? They can't worry about it. And you know, I mean, how close was the game the other night, right? And,
yeah, coin flip at worst.
Yeah, coin flip. And so, you know, you just need guys to step up and, you know, it is, I mean, that's what we're dealt with, right?
So, if you were the guy, if John Hines came to you and says, "Hey, Patrick, you're a prolific goal scorer and you know all about hockey. What's your suggestion for kickstarting my offense?" What would you say to him? How the Wild should best get things going in the right direction, in lieu of the fact that you're not going to have Mats Zuccarello for a 3rd consecutive game?
Well, this may sound crazy, but I'd get Brock Faber involved more. We saw what he did in game 2, or what game was it that he had 2 goals? I get confused. Game 2, he had 2 goals, right?
Brock Faber, yes, but in the 4-2 loss, he scored both goals.
Yeah, he scored both goals. And so I'd get him involved. I'd get the D involved a little bit more. Try to get Dallas, you know, away from their defensive scheme a little bit. And so that's what I would do. I think Quinn Hughes has been great, and you know, I mean, guys got to get open when you see what he does when he brings the puck down low and around the net and is circling. You got to get open for him, and so you know, the same thing. I would just get the D a little bit more involved if I could, and so you know that's one of the ways that you can do it. You know, secondly, I think we need more traffic around.
Ottinger.
They're Ottinger, right? I don't think that we've got enough traffic around them, and I would, you know, you got to send more pucks to the net when when it's a low scoring game, you know, like it's been. You've got to get more guys to the net and throw pucks at the net. So that's what I would do. We'll see what they do today.
Let's squeeze in some questions here. Keep them coming. 64686. Throw us your text, and I'll throw them right to Mr. Pat Micheletti, and we can continue to walk our way up towards that 4:45 puck drop. Again, we got Joe and Tom joining us in about, 15, 20 minutes from now from the Al Shaver press box. But let's go to this question from Brant. Pat, Boldy has shown me he's a franchise guy, willing and able to step up and put the team on his back. I have not seen that from Kirill Kaprizov. Is that too harsh from Brant there, Patrick?
Well, I think a little bit. I mean, look at Kirill's Kirill, right? And tonight he could come out and get 3. I mean, that's how good he is. And, hopefully, their line, I look at it collectively as a line. Wes made a great point about a guy like Kirill having the puck too much. You want to get him the puck. You don't want him to be the guy making the play. You want him to get the puck on his stick where he can finish the play. And so, if that line can be a little bit better tonight, I think it's going to help Kirill also.
From Rob in Bloomington, he agrees the refs are calling things tight, especially when it comes to stick infractions. But how do you explain both Jamie Benn and Tyler Myers in particular getting away with hits that can and have injured players? Again, targeting Matt Boldy. In my opinion, Jamie Benn is targeting Matt Boldy, and you've seen it from a bunch of other guys too. They're playing over the line, not just on it, and they're not paying the price for it.
Well, the only reason, I think with Ben is equity in the league. I mean, he's been around for what year is he in, Kevin?
15 at least, probably more.
I mean, he's he's the only one in the league that doesn't wear a visor, right? So
him and Bogosian, there's like 4 of them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I mean, you get my point. But I don't. I wish that they would keep a closer look on it. Let's say that.
I mean, they have to. But here's my problem with it. This isn't new for Jamie Benn. They should already be aware that that's something that they have to keep an eye on. And then throw on top of that the fact that this team comes in with a reputation of going down and diving. Fox in particular. And all they do is they go down quick, the arm goes up, and again, you're killing another penalty. Now, again, this isn't sour grapes because the Wild certainly had their opportunities on the man advantage. They went 1 for 7. That's on them. They definitely had chances on the power play. But you got to quit giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. The Foxes, the Benns, guys like that, they're diving on purpose.
Well, that's where I go back to what I said earlier. You got to let them play. You got to let them play and let some of that stuff go. That is, and Neil Smith brought it up today also. He just, what do you do, right? I mean, you're trying to play the game hard like you're supposed to, and some of this stuff's happening and you're getting infractions for it. So the message should be just keep on playing and not worry about it. Hopefully the refs will, start to let him play a little bit more. I mean, I think it'd be great for both teams and great for all of us watching.
Let's talk a little penalty kill. We get this one from the 218 area code. Patrick, Marcus Foligno, Michael McCarron, good guys, decent players, not good enough skaters to be on the PK together. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, kind of like the Common Men program. Ialto says the 218 area code. Foligno and McCarron, what do you think about their prowess on the PK?
Well, I would maybe switch combinations up a little bit. You look at Dallas and what they do on their PK. They are pressure, but they have guys that can really skate and force that pressure on you. When you have a guy like McCarron and Foligno out there, they've got the long reach, right? And so they can get in passing lanes and shooting lanes and that sort of thing. And so they're really not going to pressure. Well, that allows Dallas to get in the zone and set up. And they are so skilled with the group that they have out there that once they get in the zone, they're very, very dangerous. And so you don't want them to get in your zone. So, would I consider, some different combinations? Maybe Yurov a little bit more where you can pressure because he skates so well. Those are some of the things that you could do to maybe change up your PK a little bit.
Along those same lines, I think you'll like this one. Topher texts in about a potential top line featuring Kirill Kaprizov. I think this is kind of what you said. Put Yurov in the middle, put Kirill on one side, Ryan Hartman, move him to the wing. That, in your mind, is your best case scenario in terms of what tweaks you'd like to see.
Yeah, I'd love it. I think Kirill needs a little bit more speed with him. up the middle, and Yurov provides that. When he gets a puck, he's going to be looking for Kaprizov. We saw that earlier in the year when they played together. And then Ryan Hartman, right? Take a little pressure off him and just say, Ryan, go do what you do well. And that's where he's feisty. He's tough. He's tough to deal with down low. And, I think that would be a good move, Kevin.
Give me your thoughts on Danila Yurov. And I'm not...
I love him.
Yeah, and I'm not zoning in on him because of the error at the end of the double overtime. He takes the penalty and ends up Johnson scores on the power play. I'm not even talking about that. But what are your thoughts on him? Because there is so much to like about Danila Yurov, but you're in a pressure-packed situation right now, and the kid is having so much trouble on the faceoff dot. So what do you do with him? Because you can't put him in pressure situations and expect him to win a draw.
Well, you got to keep throwing him out there. He's played, a full season now. There's pressure, but he's got to find a way to win them. You don't have many options, okay? And quite frankly, X is the only one that is winning his majority of draws. So. Yeah. As a team, they're struggling. So you got to keep throwing him out there. Maybe he'll get more confidence moved up in the lineup, and, maybe that'll play a factor. I don't know. But he's got to find a way, wherever he is in the lineup today.
In this series, Jules Eriksson 61.5% on the dot. Yeah. Now look at some of your other centers. Ryan Hartman is at 43.8%. Danila Yurov, 26.3%. That speaks to where Nick Foligno doing okay, just shy of 50%, 47.4%. But that speaks to the problems they're having. And this is a bugaboo of Tom Reed's, even in the regular season. But it's magnified when you get to the postseason. You can't win a draw. It's hard to win those puck battles.
Well, another scenario is, Kevin, let's say Yurov and Hartman are out there together. Well, then maybe you try to get their top guy who's taking the draws kicked out of the faceoff circle. And, there's ways to go about doing that, right? And so you get another guy taking the draw, and then Hartman or Yurov, whoever's in, they flip, and you have a better chance than maybe of winning some of those draws.
Kevin from Blaine has an opinion that is much different than yours, much different than Wes Walz, and much different than most people with a working set of eyeballs. Kevin from Blaine says, I don't think Quinn Hughes has played a good series. Too many turnovers, too many defensive mistakes. How do you counter to that, Mr. Pat Micheletti?
Well, I think he's been the best player on Minnesota outside of Boldy. And he controls the game. And I think when he's on the ice 5-on-5, I don't know what the numbers are, but they're outrageous in terms of goals for and goals against. So I think, where I stand on Quinn Hughes.
Hughes, 40-some minutes of ice time in Game 3. Same thing for Miro Heiskanen. I mean, it's I don't want to go overboard too far, but it's almost an honor to watch these two magicians work with the puck.
It is, Kevin.
Quinn Hughes is a different type of player than Miro Heiskanen, but they're both so smooth when they got the puck on their stick. It's fun to watch those guys.
Yeah, there's a reason why they're out there for 40-some-odd minutes. They control the game, both of them. When Heiskanen has the puck, he's controlling it. And when Hughes has it, he's controlling it. And so, I think he's been fabulous. And both those guys have been, and they're a treat to watch.
No doubt about it. I wanted to get more into the NHL playoffs. Earlier today, we ran out of time with Neil Smith, so let me do it with you here before we bring in Joe O'Donnell and Tom Reed from the Al Shaver Press Box. Again, if you are just joining us, welcome. That's Pat Micheletti. I'm Kevin Falness. Max Fuller doing a fantastic job at the KFAN studios. Can you believe it, Patrick? He's back. He's up. He's upright.
It's unbelievable. Yeah,
his jaw's still wired shut. Yeah.
Yep.
But he's back.
You need to bring him a chocolate shake or something so he can, put some weight on.
Tom tells a great story that I'm sure you've heard, that I've heard many times, that when he was a player, Louis cracked him in the side of the face, and he had to have his mouth wired shut. He had to buy his own blender because the North Stars wouldn't pay for him. They wouldn't take the whatever it was, $2-3 at that time.
Right.
They still wouldn't foot the bill. Let's go look around the National Hockey League, especially in the Western Conference. I am dumbfounded at the fact that the Ducks now lead the Oilers 2-1 in that best-of-7 series. The Oilers just don't look like they've got it. And Connor McDavid, I don't know if he's injured, but he doesn't have that spark that you're used to seeing from him, too.
No, and both of those teams both decided, let's not even try to play any defense. I mean, some of the goals last night, Kevin, I don't know if you watched the game.
I did.
We're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Simple plays that you could defend on. That was like, no, go ahead and score, or try to score. And I felt bad for both goalies.
It's wide open. Like Jackson Lacombe looks like Brock Faber the way he's skating, and that's nothing against Jackson Lacombe. He's a fantastic hockey player.
Oh,
but
my God.
The offensive jump that he has, especially in this series, it's like, Olay, here you go. Here's this free walk to the net. They don't know how to play defense there in Edmonton, and it's been their bugaboo that's why they haven't won a cup with McDavid and Draisaitl.
And they're on the road. They're down 2-1. They dominate the second period, get 2 goals, right? Yeah. So you're thinking, okay, let's button it down here in the third, and we'll come away with a road win. It's on the road. Yeah. And they just said, as you pointed out, Olay, have at it. We'll give you 5 goals in the third period.
Yeah.
It's just dumbfounding.
It's fun to watch the young and up-and-coming teams give it to the old guard, like the Ducks are doing to the Oilers, and like what the Mammoth are doing to the Golden Knights. Mammoth now with a 2-1 series lead against the vaunted Vegas Golden Knights, who have been top of the king of the mountain since coming into the National Hockey League. I don't think they can run with the Utah Mammoth.
No, you know what? And Shane Knight, he said, when we had him on in the previous game, Kevin said, we're a much bigger team, and we're just going to try to manhandle them. And boy, oh boy, that Utah is fast, they're skilled, and they don't mind playing the rough and tough game if they have to. And they've been very, very good. And I think it's going to be awfully difficult for Vegas to come back in this series and win it.
Those are the big series watching over in the Western Conference. Of course, the Avalanche are leading the Kings 3-0. No surprise there. No surprise that the Hurricanes lead the Senators 3-0, although in Game 4, that game is scoreless late in the second period. No, Carolina just scored. They lead that game 1-0 with 4:45 left to go in the middle frame. But the Hurricanes have a very good chance to sweep the Senators with a victory today. Same thing with the Flyers, another up-and-coming young team that's taking it to the old guard, and Sidney Crosby, I don't even think he's got a point in this series, unless I'm wrong, unless he scored in Game 3. But regardless, Flyers lead the Pens 3-0. Meanwhile, the Canadiens, that's a fun team, watching them go toe-to-toe with the Lightning. La Habitants up 2-1. What have you thought about the Canadiens, giving the Lightning everything they can handle?
I think that series has been fabulous to watch. You want to talk about fast pace? I tell you, both teams are going at it. It's rough. It's tough. There's skill involved. Both goalies are playing terrific. And I think Montreal. It's Game 4 is going to be big. But boy, if they get that one, that is going to be really tough for Tampa to come back from. It's a great series.
Save the best for last. We knew this was going to be a good one. Sabres back in the playoffs for the first time in almost a decade and a half, and they're going toe-to-toe with the Boston Bruins. Sabres, the best team in the Eastern Conference, record-wise, holding the top spot, I believe. Regardless, they won their division, and that's a young, fun, happy-go-lucky team. And they're taking it to the Bruins. They lead them 2-1. It's still anybody's game, but I believe Game 4 of that series, I think, is tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, or noon probably. Okay. So regardless, how much fun has that series been to watch? The Sabres fans have been nuts whenever they're in Buffalo.
Well, what happened after Game 1, I think, kind of, because Buffalo, remember, came back. They were down 2-0 with 9 minutes to go. And they come away with a win. Shocked everybody. I think it I think Buffalo thought, okay, yeah, we got this thing going into game 2. You could almost predict game 2, and Boston came out and smoked them in game 2. But then game 3, Buffalo plays well again and beats them. So, I think this one is going 7, Kevin.
I do
too. And good on Buffalo for winning game 3, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Lots of fun names on that Sabre roster, but I'm really enjoying watching Jason Zucker get an opportunity here. I know he's done it certainly with the Wild. He did it with Pittsburgh and wherever else he stopped. But Buffalo, it seems to be a natural fit for Jason Zucker, and he's playing a big role on that team.
Well, he's taking on a leadership role, and you know what? He still can. He can score. He's good around the net. He still has a little jump in his legs. And he's playing really, really well for him.
All right, so let's do this. One more break, and then we'll go upstairs to the Al Shaver press box. We'll get back to the Wild and the Stars. Game 4 coming up here from St. Paul. Puck drops in about 54 minutes, if my math is correct. 4:45 in the Central Time Zone, with an opportunity for the Wild to tie this series up at 2 games apiece. The breaking news, if you are just joining us, whatever they do today, they have to do it without the services of Mats Zuccarello. He'll miss his 3rd straight game with an upper body injury. He's out. Yakov Trenin is out. Looks like Zach Bogosian, good chance he's back despite taking a maintenance day yesterday. But that's the breaking news from John Hines that we had just about a half hour ago. Mats Zuccarello has been ruled out for game number 4. More on that when we continue. Joe O'Donnell, Tom Reed, Pat Micheletti when we continue on this extended Minnesota Wild pregame on The Fan. It's almost here. It's such a bonus to have an afternoon game again in this best of 7 series. 2 of the first 4 games have been matinees, but the last 2, the last one got done after midnight, for crying out loud, only almost 1 a.m. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way of the Wild. They end up losing in double overtime, and now they trail in this best of 7 series 2-1. Game 4 coming up here in about 45 minutes from St. Paul. An opportunity to knot this series up at 2 games apiece. I'm Kevin Falness. Pat Micheletti joins as well. And now we go upstairs to the Al Shaver press box to check in with Tom Reed and Joe O'Donnell. I know this much for a fact, Tom Reed. You love matinee hockey much more than you like an 8:50 puck drop.
Well, I like the AM. If you get to that side of the noontime, that'd be absolutely great. We'll be out of here by 2.
Without a doubt. Before we bring Pat Micheletti into the fold, the disappointment from Game 3, it felt like it doesn't get much closer. The Wild certainly had their opportunities, and I think that's what's going to haunt them. No matter how this series turns out, Game 3 slipped through their fingers, especially 3 power play chances in the third, 2 more in the first overtime, unable to capitalize on those chances.
Well, yeah, I mean, missed opportunities, man. Those are the 2 words that come to mind, and it's the way I felt in the moment. It's the way I still feel now. I will say this, Kevin. If the Wild win this hockey game today, I think a lot of the state of hockey will forget about Game 3, right?
You're right.
It'll just be a loss in a long series, right? You'll be guaranteed at least 6 games in this series. You'll know you've got at least 1 more home game. So, to me, this is a day where the rubber meets the road for the Minnesota Wild. A lot of these guys have been here a long time. A lot of them have been here a few years. A couple of them are just in their first season with the Wild. But for the most part, the theme has been the same. When the big games are here in front of them, how do they respond? Do they make their own breaks? Can they stay out of the box? Can they get a big save? Can they get a timely goal? Those are the things I'll be looking for today to see if this group has learned from previous, playoff disappointments.
Yeah, and I think John Hines, said it best yesterday also, Joe, when he's talking about it's not as dire as you think it is, because the sun's going to shine tomorrow, and sometimes you're not as good as you think you are, and other times you're not as bad as you think you are, but it all is in the past. So I think right now, Minnesota, they just have to concentrate in this game. They've got to be smart. They've got to get shots to the net, and they've got to get quality shots. I don't think they get enough quality shots to the netminder on the other side. They're not getting a lot of shots close in at all. Ottinger's been great. He's done what he has to do, and Jesper's been great for Minnesota. The goaltending has not been a problem in this contest at all. But Minnesota, as Joe said, you got to stay out of the box. You really have to, because our penalty kill is not working right now, and you got to concentrate on just doing your job every time you step on the ice.
Patrick?
You brought me in. Thanks, Kevin. Tom, yeah, I think you bring up a good. I think he
it's like a family dinner at the Micheletti.
Pat's here. Right? Well, yeah, I have
Who's
to
carving the turkey? Who is the turkey?
I have to wait for permission to talk.
That's not true.
So, Tom, I think you bring up a great point. Both goalies have played terrific. So if they can see the puck, they're going to stop the puck. But I agree with you. I think they need to get more traffic in front of the net, more volume. I think, 32 shots were the total, and that goes into overtime. But, just getting more shots on goal also and getting guys to the net.
Can I just add one more thing to that? Tom's point, Pat following it up. And again, I'm not the most, in the weeds hockey analytics guy. But Sport Logic is obviously, they have a partnership with FanDuel. Mike Kelly for the NHL and NHL Network helps run Sport Logic. They do a pretty good job. Now, some of these analytical sites will have differing numbers, expected goals and all this stuff. But according to Sport Logic in Game 3, the Wild had 0 inner slot shots on net. Now, some fans right away, I saw that, Mike Kelly tweeted it. Wow, what a job, Dallas. 92 minutes of hockey, 0 inner slot shots against that went on net. And some fans are like, oh, where's the Johansson goal? Where's the Eck goal? Well, according to those analytical sites, they were outside of the inner slot. So we're talking about blue paint and a few feet around the blue paint where the Wild didn't have a single shot on goal, again, according to Sport Logic in Game 3.
Well, this much we know. John Hines met with the media and confirmed the fact that Matt Zuccarello unavailable for game number 4. Third straight game he'll miss with an upper body injury. So what tweaks do you guys expect going into game number 4? Is it Bobby Brink still on the top line? How do you mess with the power play? This should be fascinating to see how John Hines and his coaching staff react and what type of tweaks they make.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see it because, even though they start with one group, that doesn't mean they're going to finish with one group. I mean, the lines could change. Jacques Lemaire was great at starting the lineup, and also he had changed it from the second set of guys getting the ice as quickly as he possibly could. He could read the temperature of the players. He knew what to expect from them. And if they weren't playing up to his standard, he would change it right away. And that means that some guys are going to be hurt by it, other guys are going to be elevated to another line and hopefully help the club. But this club really has to step up here right from the drop of the puck. This is going to be a very difficult game for them.
Yeah, and I don't think we should forget, guys, these two teams are so evenly matched. I mean, it was a great hockey game the other night. We could be talking about Minnesota winning the game. And so I personally think they just have to have the attitude that, we're the better team. We got to believe it and go out and do it.
I think Matt Boldy said as much after the game, right? That you got to, use the line, nip it in the bud as far as frustration or we have to. No, believe in yourself, go out there, get it done. Paraphrasing for Matt Boldy in the latter half there. But, this series so far has been the difference of one or two big moments, one or two battles, one or two deflections in front, staying out of the box at the right time. So I don't want the Wild to change anything, to be honest. Stay with your game, get a few more bodies to the net, get a few more pucks to the net. Hope you get a bounce in today's hockey game. And if they play the way they've been playing, we know it's going to be a nail-biter again.
Couple more questions. I'll ask you one, and Pat can finish it up. I asked this to both Wes Walz and Pat Micheletti throughout the course of today, and I'm going to ask you two as well. Are the Dallas Stars a dirty team?
I would say they're a dirty team. They've got a couple of players that are a little subject to when they like to kind of use their bodies to their advantage or their sticks to their advantage and haven't been called for. And that's the one thing that the supervisor has to talk to the guys who wear the stripes, what to look for on certain teams, because they're going to do certain things. And there's no question that Jamie Benn is one of those guys that will. He'll go to the limits. And if he's not called for it, he'll continue. It's like speeding in your car. And you can go 100 miles an hour. If you never get caught, you'll just stay at 100. But as soon as you have to pay those fines, you're going to slow down considerably. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
I'm going to take your question a different way, Kevin. I'm going to say this. I'm not complaining at all about the officiating in the series. Power play numbers have been almost even, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, my gosh, the Wild should have 12 power plays in Game 3. No. I thought, for the stick fouls, everything was called pretty evenly. It's the stuff after the whistle. It's the cross-checks. It's the spear attempt on Kaprizov. It's the two incidents with Jamie Benn, one in Game 2, one in Game 3, both against Matt Boldy, that have gone uncalled and haven't been, the league hasn't done anything about it either. So those are the areas where I'm frustrated. It's like that could swing a series of Wyatt Johnson's kicked out of Game 3.
Yep.
It could, he scores the game winner in double overtime. An attempted spear, that's seen. A lot of times you're gone, even if there's no damage. So that's been frustrating for me. Not so much the minor penalties or the power plays in the series. It's been some of the after the whistle and more egregious things. It just seems like the Dallas Stars have gone unscathed, and the Wild have had injured players because of it.
You got one more, Pat?
Yeah, I got one quick one. 97's game. What are you seeing in it? Does he have to make any tweaks to, improve on his performance, if you will?
Well, I think every player has to perform better. There's no doubt in my mind, and 97 is one of those guys. I mean, we expect a lot from him because he's the highest paid player on the Wild, and will be for a number of years, it looks like. But you know what? You're paid according to what they think is going to happen when he steps on the ice. He's a type of guy that can make a difference in a hockey game. We've seen that time and time again. He's been terrific for this club, no question about it. I'm not putting it all on him because he needs help along the way, too. But he can't do it by himself. Everybody has to step up.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been awesome listening to you through the first 3 games of this series, and I can't imagine today will be any different. So good luck.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Tom Reed and Joe O'Donnell from the Al Shaver Press Box getting ready for game number 4 coming up. Puck drop in about 42 minutes as we get ready for an opportunity to tie this series up at 2 games apiece. The breaking news, of course, if you are just joining us, making your way into the arena, there will be no Mats Zuccarello today. Obviously, Pat, as we've mentioned in many different ways, many different times over the course of the last hour or so, that's a huge blow to this lineup. They can still win with or without Mats Zuccarello, though. I assume you agree with that.
Absolutely they can, Kevin. It's bearing down. We know Ottinger's a really good goaltender. You got to get to him, and really got to execute when you're in tight and you have the opportunity to score. You got to bury it, Kevin. You got to get that separation goal. And that's something that they just didn't do in Game 3. But listen, I think this is going to be a long series. There is no reason why they can't win today and win Tuesday in Dallas. I mean, I don't really think it matters where these two teams play. You just got to go out and get the job done.
The let's play hockey for Game 3 was not the problem. He was so good. I'm wondering what today will be like.
Maybe they're going to come down and say, come on, Kevin.
I think the cat is out of the bag. I don't think I have to keep it a secret. I mean, we're coming up close to it. I have. That's not the point. Do you know who's doing it today? I told you. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
John Mayasich.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my hero.
How good is that going to be? And again, Justin
2 years old.
Yeah, we had him in studio for Beyond the Pond earlier this season. Yes. Talk about an honor to see you two guys sitting in the room together, but especially Mr. Mayasich there, who's now local. Apparently has moved down from Eveleth and is spending a lot of time in the Twin Cities. But to know that he's doing the Let's Play Hockey, that's going to be pretty special for everyone, but especially you, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to, since we have everybody on the air and watching, and go out and buy John's book. It's a fabulous book. I don't know where you can get it. Probably Amazon.
Anywhere.
Right?
Google it. You'll find it. Yeah. Anywhere you buy books.
And go out and buy his book because you will thoroughly enjoy it, hockey fans.
All right, so here we go. Game 4, right around the corner. We're getting ready for this thing. Like we both said, it's not a must-win, but it kind of feels like it. You got to go and tie this series up at 2 games apiece. You don't want to go to Dallas for Game 5, trailing in this best-of-7 series 3 games to 1. So the opportunity, it's the same thing today for the Wild in Game 4 that it was for Dallas in Game 2. They could not afford to go down 2-0 in this series. The Wild cannot afford to be down 3-1. How important is this one to the Wild for any number of different reasons?
Yeah, you break the cycle, right? You've lost 2 in a row, so you don't want to lose 3 in a row. So you break that cycle psychologically. That will really put the momentum back with the Wild. So I think that is really, really important. By the way, Do we have a line chart out yet or not?
No, they just walked out down the tunnel. They're on the ice as we speak. Those will start to filter out as they do their line rushes and whatnot. And that'll be something to watch for. Now that we know Zuccarello is not in, does the top line remain Bobby Brink with Kaprizov and Hartman? You say, I guess I kind of expect it to stay the same. I mean, this team lost, but it was a coin flip in game number 3. It wasn't, you don't have to reinvent the wheel going into game number 4. That said, I don't expect much tweaking to go along now that Zuccarello's not there.
No, Hines talks about it all the time. The little details of the game, and that's finishing, and all of those little things, getting better on the PK, cleaning up your power play a little bit. It's we've talked about it, Kevin. Just a thin margin of error, and so you clean those up, and you will be in pretty good shape, I think.
Zach Bogosian is out there, so that's good news. He will. I mean, I know it's only the third pair, but everybody counts, and I prefer having Zach Bogosian in the lineup rather than out. But no Yakov Trenin, no Mats Zuccarello. Have not seen line combinations as of yet, though. But it's nice to know that he's out there, and of course, no shock. Jesper Wallstedt led them out on the ice. It's going to be the same matchup in goal today that it has been for the previous 3. Jake Ottinger against Jesper Wallstedt again, and that's been a pretty good matchup in and of itself.
Yeah, do we know any, are there any lineup changes for Dallas?
I have not seen anything as of yet. We will get into it when the pregame starts in about 6 minutes or so. As of right now, I have not seen anything official. Okay. What would you expect for them to do? I can't imagine they'd have to change anything either.
No, they'll probably, same way, and they're going to probably play the same way. And so what word did I use today, Kevin, that got you? Crafty.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to have to can we outcraft them today? And use it to our advantage. And that's what this series comes down to. We talk about the players and how it's being played. I think coaching is going to be really, really critical today too. When can Hines put Boldy and Kaprizov together? And Eck, if you will. How do you throw Kaprizov out with just another line to confuse Dallas a little bit? Or do you do that with Boldy a little bit? Because those, those are your guys that are going to do the scoring for you. So you got to find a way to get them the proper ice time at the proper time.
Awesome stuff, Patrick. It's been fun working with you all day long. Enjoy your evening. You get the Wild, you get the Timberwolves. A great day to be a sports fan here in Minnesota, especially if you like those two winter sports lasting into the spring.
You got it, Kevin. Thank you.
There we go. Pat Micheletti, thanks to him. Thanks to Wes Walz. Thanks to Zach Halverson, Max Fuller, Alexis Huss. She did something even for the extended pregame. And thanks to John Hines for joining us earlier as well. Unfortunately, he's the bearer of bad news. Mats Zuccarello officially ruled out for game number 3. He'll miss this one with an upper body injury. 3rd straight game without Mats Zuccarello. The previous 2 games, the Wild fell short. They lost, and now they trail in the best-of-7 series 2-1. Imperative they get things accomplished today in game number 4 in St. Paul in front of the home crowd. They'll have their opportunity here in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. We've got more pregame fun coming your way. We're going to hear from Michael McCarron. We'll hear from our coaches show. Get more from Tom Reed and Joe O'Donnell as well. Go Wild, have fun, and stay safe out there, would you? The best place to go for all your Minnesota Wild audio needs is the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. Everything Minnesota Wild related, including highlights, press conferences, players, coaches, general managers, and more. It's available on the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. It's all just a click away at wild.com/podcast.